Well, good evening everybody. This is like at 9:30 at night. I have not had one chance today to do any painting, to make a video, but I have got a lot done, and the privilege of my grandson sleeping over tonight. So as soon as he went to bed, I grabbed a few moments to myself to chill, and now I'm painting. And I thought that since I hadn't been able to make a video yet today, that I might as well show you what I actually do when I'm painting. And it is quite a drawn out thing, so I won't keep you for too long because it takes forever. And since I haven't got a clue how to edit or do all those fancy bits and bobs with technology, it just has to wait. And I'll just have to wing it and show you a little bit of what I do when I'm painting, and you'll have to see how I manage. I had finished 5 little characters on, was it yesterday? No, day before. What was that? Today's Wednesday, so Monday. I don't even know what day of the week it is. It was Monday. That's when I finished these little characters. And I also, if you remember, I showed you this one before, the Santa, this blue one. Oh, the light is terrible. Anyway, this little Santa here. But I finally got to put the felt on the bottom, so he's safe not to harm any standing surfaces that he'll be put on. And he's finished and done and complete. I think I'm going to put this light around the other side. Not that it'll be long enough to do so, but I'll have to, because really it's making the light terrible in here. Let's see if I can work this. Just bear with me a minute. Let's see how we can manage. I also have the microphone plugged in because I didn't know what the quality of sound would be like. Oh, it's slightly, marginally better. But now I'm stuck with wires. Hang on, let's put this out of the way safely. There we go. Okay, so the characters that I finished this week. This little thing. Don't know what you could call it. Whether it's an elf or something like that, I'm not sure. But there's 2 bronze ones. Like that. Right. A red one and 2 green ones, and as you can see, I've left some of the wood natural because it looks lovely, just being able to see the wood and the knots and all the features in the wood. So I've painted that on, but I found the inspiration for these off Pinterest, as I do all my inspiration, and it came from some, looks slightly similar, but not much, different little characters, I suppose, similar to this, but with felt hooded cloaks on. And I loved them, they were gorgeous, but there's no way I'm making felt cloaks as well. That would just be way too complicated for little things like this and cost a fortune, really, to make a lot and then sell it. People wouldn't buy it for that price. So we finished them off, and they've got felt on the bottom as well. And I thought that was just a nice change, you know, something a bit modern and simple, and I love them. They're really cute. There you go, little elf-like characters. Not that you can see them on the table there. There you go. That's what I've done on Monday. Tuesday I did some clearing out, tidying up in the kitchen, and I was able to move a few things around, and I felt really good by the end of the day because I'd done quite a bit more actually. Today I've actually dug the pond. Well, I had help with that because I'm not physically able to dig a pond myself now. But it wasn't big, it was just to sink a one of those plastic smithy tub type pots. It's big enough for a pond, but I got 2 of them, and one is sunk into the ground except for about that much, and then stones placed around it. I'll show you in the video I'll do tomorrow. But so by the way, by the time I'm finished with this, I will either upload it before I go to bed, or if that's too late, I'll do it in the morning. So it won't be it'll be a Wednesday video, but it'll be posted on Thursday. So I really just need to do them every single day. Then I don't need to worry about posting any on time. But I don't know how I'd find the time for that. Right, one of my jars, my zero waste things. These little screw eyes, these are the very small ones. They are so hard to get hold of now. I've really been struggling. All the usual places that we would find them just don't have them, and the only other place we looked was Hobbycraft. I thought surely Hobbycraft would have them. They had one pack of a mixture of little ones and big ones, and it was over £1, but I got 5 screw eyes that I could use. The others were just way too big, no good at all for, you know, these hanging ornaments. No good for them at all. So there was one last place to try today, and that was B&Q. And I found them, packs of 25, but they were more than £3. Look at that. For that one pack, over £3 for one pack of 25 mini screw eyes for picture frames. Unbelievable. I was gobsmacked. And they're in plastic. Not much I can do about that, but unbelievable. What happened to the old hardware stores where you could go and fill a bag yourself and get quite a lot for a little bit of money? Can't do that anymore because traditional hardware stores are gone, put out of business by the big companies. There you go, whinging. But anyway, how precious is that? £6, over nearly £7 worth of little screw eyes, and I'll need at least 3 or 4 more bags of that before Christmas. Unbelievable. But there you go, needs must. Okay, so anyway, what I'll be painting tonight is, I mean, I've got these little characters that the Whittler has turned for me, because I thought this year I'd like to do some turned items, because we usually only do these hanging ones there, and I thought for a change, because I wanted to do something a little bit more modern as well, so we can cater to more markets. He turned some for me, and they're all different sizes. Well, not too different like that. Some are, and some are shorter and stubbier. But I've got some red ones, some dark silvery ones, some green ones, blue ones, and I think I'll do a couple of purple ones as well. I've got some more that needed screw eyes, so I'll do them another day. But that is what I'm doing now. Hopefully by next Monday they'll be finished, because it'll take me that long anyway. Shall we get painting? 8 minutes gone already. Oh my days. And what's it now? 20 to 10. My cut-off time is usually around 10 o'clock. Am I going to get one painted before then? I don't think so, considering it takes almost an hour to do just one. You'll see why in a minute. White paints. These are the cheaper white paints, the acrylic paints. The problem with the cheaper white ones is that they tend to be a bit opaque, and you end up having to put about 3 coats on to get a proper cover. Otherwise it looks like you've used just a wash, and I don't want that. I would like a nice proper solid color. And sometimes these cheaper paints as well, they tend to yellow over time. Right, so this is the easy bit. All the white bits, that's just the base coats. They're not hard to do, but as you can see, I don't know if you can or not, but the wood grain is still visible. Oh, I don't know. I think you see better without the light on. Maybe if I turned it a little. There, you can see there. That's one coat of paint, and it's still a bit opaque, so I'll have to go over that yet again. Mind you, I can still see the pencil line through that bit. So his beard, the face, I usually do the face first and then paint round, but oh, it's tricky. But the faces are, I have to mix the paints to get the right skin tone, because they're not all a good skin tone, and you want just the right one. So I need a bigger brush, sorry. Let's hope I don't mess up around the face, eh? I'll just go carefully. Right, and once I've got that done, I'll just give it a quick all over, just for that base coat. All the details, as you'll see when I use the finer brushes, take a lot longer because they're really fine. If you compare that brush to, I don't know if you could see it even, that one, that tiny little needle-like one, that is what I use for most of the details. Yeah, where's this one? The one I was using a minute ago for the base coat on the faces. I mean, that's not much bigger. And then this one, which is also not that big, but I don't want to use anything bigger because it'll just go everywhere and you have to get the lines nice and, you know, tidy. So this will look a bit of a mess until it's had at least 2 thick coats. And it won't make sense until we've done all the details and the shading at the end. And the shadows and little details like that. Just to give it a little bit of extra something. But these ones I do want to keep more simple. So I'm going to force myself, because I sometimes can't help myself, force myself not to put too much detail in, to keep it simple. Alright, so I'll let that dry, or I'll try and I'll get the smaller brush to do around the rim of the hat and the tip, but I'll let that dry first, otherwise I'm going to get my hands all over the paint. Do another one. So I also have to draw the faces on before I even start, so I know exactly. See, this one's fat, you can't really see it very well, can you? So it'll make sense by the time I'm done, although you won't see the finished product because I would not punish you and expect you to sit through me painting a whole one finished. That would take for ages. Because I'll do about 3 or 4 of them at the same time, just so as I can allow the coats of paint to dry in between. And I might just mix the face, the skin tones in a second while these coats are drying. And sometimes the first coat of paint, if we haven't painted them with sanding sealer, which sometimes I don't, because it's very, very expensive to use a sanding sealer, which raises the grain and seals the wood, and then when the grains are raised, you just sand it back again to make it smooth, but then at least the wood is sealed and it shouldn't crack and have more grains raised after that when you paint it. But it's very, very expensive. I mean, this is a sanding sealer I've been using, and that was like £12 just for that, and I can use quite a bit of that really to seal everything that we do. So it can be very expensive. So sometimes I just use the acrylic paints, the first base coat, and then the base coat can sometimes act like a sanding sealer because it does raise some of the grains as it dries, and then I just have to sand it back a little to smooth it with a very fine, I use like 400 or 600 grit sand, you know, the wet and dry sandpaper, because it's very fine. So if I do that, you know, paint it, let it dry, sand it a bit, then put on the next base coat, and that way, there you go, you can start to see there's a face appearing in there. So there you go, and I haven't even drawn the face on this one yet. I thought, oh yes I did. Oh, thankfully I won't have to, I could spare you the torture of having to sit through that. Yeah, and sometimes I like the painting because I could just get a bit lost in it. Yeah, I just don't, I can switch off and just concentrate on the painting. There you go. And ooh, the Whittler has just come home. He's been helping somebody out, and now you can see me making a video. I usually do that when nobody's around. So there we go, painting. And I would have shown you what I use for inspiration, but he's sitting right by the computer and he's a very shy creature. So you'll just have to take my word. You can hear the music in the background. I tend to use some Celtic inspired music. There's lots of channels that actually play some lovely tracks, and I even, when nobody else is around, actually get stuck into some Christmas tracks, even in April or May or June, whenever I'm painting Christmas stuff, because it just gives me the inspiration, and at least I'm not driving everybody else to distraction with Christmas music at any time of the year. I was told off the other day for mentioning Christmas even. But for us who have to make and sell these things for Christmas, we have to start earlier in the year, or all through the year. What am I done there? It's a bit confusing. Why did I? Oh, I know what I did. There we go. There. That little face there starting. So he'll dry. While they're drying, clean my brush, and then I'll start mixing the skin colors. Right. This is my little box of tricks in the corner here. And I have that one, and that one, which I usually mix to find a slightly appropriate skin tone. You just never know. It's always different. Every time I mix paints, they always are different. Nothing is ever the same. I might make a bit more. And then I'll just cover it with something to... Oh, poop. Yeah, that is a bit of a metallic colour, but it works. And then that one. These are all acrylics as well, just a different make. And there's the trusty lollipop stick. And then I kind of get it. See there, mixing that. When I kind of get it to the right one, that needs more of the rose. And every single time I make a skin tone, it's a hit and miss thing, because I can never find, even though I found a make, I think it was Winsor & Newton, that had flesh colour, it just wasn't flesh colour. I mean, I'm sure it matched somebody's flesh, but it would have looked rather not green around the gills, but yellow. So I always end up mixing anyway. There we go. I think that's about as close as I'm gonna get to my own skin tone. You can't see it on the camera, but I can. It's pretty much. I might need a little touch of pink. I'm not sure. Just a little bit. It's a bit porcelain at the moment. No, it needs a slightly more. Let's try this one. Nope, a red. That's what it takes to mix skin color. Just a tiny little speck of red. Let's see what that does. Oh, I dropped a little bit of it. As you know, being on my zero waste journey, eventually I'll try and find a way that I could use old rags instead of paper towel for cleaning off with the brushes and stuff, but there isn't really a cloth that works as well as paper for drying off your brushes and things like that. It's not this, I don't think there is a cloth that works well enough. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. I'm happy with that. We'll paint it on and see if it looks alright. Right, let's just have a go now. See if it works. Or if it's too pink, then I'll have to add some more of the, maybe a touch of brown. Right, let's have a look. Oh, that one's still wet. Ugh. Let's get a different one. There, that one. That'll do. And now the right brush. This one. Right. And I'm just going in there. Yeah, that's about the right colour. Maybe it's a little bit too pink. I have to put a little bit of the yellow back in. It's always hard to get just the right shade. It'll always dry a bit darker anyway as well, so I probably shouldn't have put more red in to pink it up a bit. There we go. And the little bit for the lip there. There you go. Does that make more sense? There you go. So I'll have to do that white, and then do everything all over a second coat again, except for the hat because that's done. And then work on the fine details with the face and all the shadowing and shading. But I'll try and keep it simple. That'll be the hard one because I can't resist the detailed flourishes. But I have to remember, if that takes more than an hour, plus the time to make it, and all the materials, and the paints, and it takes more than an hour, we will never sell it because it would have to be almost £20. So I have to try and squeeze out as much as I can of it before, so that we can keep prices down. But it's really, it just devalues the item and the work that goes in. But there you go, that is the start of it, and I'll show you when they're finished what they look like. So you've got a slight idea. What's that been now? 20 minutes almost? No, let's see, how long did I talk? 8 minutes. Okay, so what's it now? Yeah, 15 minutes. 15 minutes just to do the beard and the face with the mixing of the paint. So that's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? That shows you just a little bit of what it entails doing the painting. But you wait till I do some of the finer details with the little tiny needle brush. So I'll let you know after how long it took to finish it completely. That will have to be it, otherwise this video will take absolutely all night to upload, sorry. So I shall see you again soon. Good night.